Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and for today's video, we are talking about the new Hulu HELLRAISER. I am super excited to talk to you guys about this film. This is going to be a spoiler review just because there's so much within this film to talk about and that I really want to talk to you guys about. So just forewarning, this will be a spoiler review, but I'll kind of warn you when I get to those. So initially, going into this film, I was a little bit hesitant. I think, like most people were, I was excited but hesitant. I did do a trailer reaction, and, you know, I was concerned just with kind of any sort of new addition to a franchise, concerned about respecting the original or cheesy factor. Granted, and I do love and enjoy the original HELLRAISER, it can be cheesy at times, and definitely other films within this franchise are as well, and that's okay. I don't mind a little cheese in my horror, obviously, but I was just hesitant about how this one was going to play out. There wasn't a whole lot of information in the trailer, which is always good. We don't want things spoiled, but yeah, I was worried, but all in all, I generally really enjoyed the film. I thought that it was done really well. I really, the cast was great. I definitely thought that it was scary, which I was, of course, very happy about, to actually be, pretty terrified at certain times during this film, and that is kind of my spoiler-free feelings about this film. I definitely think it's the top one of the year. Now, to actually get into some specific horrors, I just kind of wrote down some of the things that I liked. I liked the way that they did it when, after people are poked by the configuration, the box, they kind of start to get dizzy, almost feel like they're hallucinating, and that was one thing within this film. It's really just beautifully shot. Those scenes where the people start to get kind of loopy, almost like they're being poisoned, was really cool. And then just the way that they did the walls and the kind of surrounding breaking down around the victims. And they did a really good job of making it where it can kind of happen anywhere. It's not just in a building. There's a scene where it happens in a van and the person's taken back kind of into this location where the Cenobites are at. And I also like the way that only certain characters, the current victims and the person that's now controlling the box, are done. I also really enjoyed our main character, our kind of final girl of the story, Riley. That actress did a fantastic job, and I liked the way that it almost felt like it took a little inspiration from the Evil Dead remake, where you have this character who is an addict and is kind of struggling with that sobriety, and so when she starts to have these things happen to her and she's hallucinating, the people around her don't initially believe her, and I think that that's always, it's a sensitive topic, but I think that it does really well for horror films. I think it was a really good way that they did Evil Dead, and I think that it worked really well for this film as well, and they still managed to do it pretty respectfully. One thing that they also did in this film that I really enjoyed is the amount of information and, I guess, history that we get regarding the configurations. We get a lot of, they go into a lot of detail on exactly what each configuration means and provides for people. I like that you have these four or five different kind of steps, puzzles, aka souls and victims, that the person who is controlling the box has to gather before they are able to then be provided and are able to then decide what they want. And that at the end of the film, we basically find out how Cenobites become, because we and this is a big spoiler if you haven't seen it, but this character of Roland, who was previously trying to use and control the box, he gets transformed into one, which that scene I thought was a little bit kind of cheesy, but I still liked the added kind of detail and information that gave us as to clearly these Cenobites, the demons, were once humans that, you know, made this choice and these decisions themselves, and they're now in charge of basically controlling the new victims or people that use the box. And it also makes sense as to why when Riley stabs one of them with the box, that works as well, which I also thought was really smart and cool. So yeah, I definitely think this movie added a lot to the franchise. I don't know if it's necessarily supposed to be like its own standalone film or if it's supposed to be part of the franchise. I do like the fact that it wasn't just like a straight up remake. I feel like I've maybe seen people saying that, but for me personally, I think a remake is when you take the exact story of like an original film or project and basically copy it into a new film. So I don't think that this one is a remake. I think it's just adds onto it or is its own standalone, which I like those, which I definitely liked as well. I don't think that we need to really touch or mess with the original because it is its own great film. I think this one just did a really good job of adding to the franchise. So I really liked it. I will say the only things were that I did kind of, obviously I didn't know for sure, but I did kind of sense that something was up with the boyfriend or the guy that Riley was seeing. I kind of had a feeling maybe in the beginning that he might have had like something to do with all of this when he was like trying to get her to go to the warehouse, but I wasn't 100% sure and I wasn't 100% like set on that. So when it was revealed, that definitely did make me sad because I liked them and thought that they were cute. So that was like pretty fucked up. And I love that Riley just did what she had to do in that situation. And the only other thing was just the Cenobites' looks themselves. I understand kind of taking away the outfits that are in the original. They're now just in these like full-on meat suits, which are definitely like creepier and I think make them scarier for sure. Because you just see like their flesh and grossness. But I kind of like the outfits of the original, so that kind of like costume change was a little bit of a bummer, but not a huge deal. Oh, and I also want to address, because obviously I know that there are people out there that are upset about the idea of this female pinhead. If you don't know, that is not a new concept for this franchise, and it's not like a fan pushed thing. So for anybody that thinks that, just do a little history search because it's not a new concept. And also, like, these Cenobites, yes, they are clearly used to be people and they do have very feminine or male features, but generally, like, if you look at their bodies, for the most part, they're pretty much sexless creatures. Like, they don't really have like all those bits and whatnots have been basically like torn off these creatures anyway. So it's just a stupid argument and I think it's ridiculous and there's no reason to be offended. You're just being ridiculous at that point. So anyway, I really enjoyed this film. Let me know what your thoughts were on it in the comments below. Did you enjoy this movie? Let me know why or why not. If you are a huge HELLRAISER fan, definitely let me know your thoughts. One of my coworkers is, so I'm really excited to talk to her about that and find out how she felt. So anyway, I hope that you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a big old thumbs up and make sure you hit that subscribe button for more horror related content, and I will see you all again later with another video. Bye!